Hey, what's up? Wouldn't you know that when I make my longest videos, that's when I decide that I didn't say everything I wanted to say in them. Okay, and I don't know why it always ends up being this time when I make a video, but it's the only time I seem to be able to do it anymore. What I like to say in this video, I want to title it Cod Liver Oil, and basically I want to start out by talking about how, one thing I forgot to mention on my last video. Oh, and I like to edit something. I was saying that really I have no idea how many colds I was getting on average in my first dozen years, and what I mean is ages 0 through 11. My first dozen years of life, but it's probably north of 6 per year, because that includes my elementary years. All I know is that in my first year of life, I had exactly 4, according to my baby calendar. And so elementary school, I know I missed 4 days of 5th grade. And I've talked about my school absences, how they ranged anywhere from 1 to 20. Never perfect attendance, but the low numbers were as I got older, and the 20 was like kindergarten. And, I missed a lot of school in the early years. So those were my worst years. And so they probably brought my average number of colds to at least 6 per year in my first dozen years, ages 0 through 11. They may not have all been more than 6 a year, but the ones that were high definitely brought that average up. Okay, but then in my next dozen years, ages 12 through 23, the average was at least 4, okay? About 4.5 for that period of my life. It was 5.8 at ages 12 through 17. Then about 2.5 at ages 18 through 23. So like if you broke the lifespan up like in 6-year periods, that is a very interesting graph for me when it comes to colds, because it tells a story of someone who was protected as a baby. But then the minute I went to elementary school, I was protected to the point where as a baby and a young child, I probably had more of an adult average, like 2 to 4 per year, because I was around adults most of the time. And that's why I didn't really make friends with kids my own age, because I was around adults so much that I couldn't relate to them. And then my mom red-shirting me totally made it to where I certainly couldn't relate to the kids in my grade level because they were a year younger than me. Okay, so they weren't even my age. They were kids younger than me. And of course that, in my mind, precluded any attraction I would have ever felt toward the boys. Because women are not attracted to men based on, people try to tell me, oh, well, your maturity level wasn't at your age, so you should have still liked them. Well, bull effing shit. Because women don't look at men and say, I'm immature, so I need a young guy. No, we're still attracted to older, more established men. We're still attracted to the idea of a man being able to take care of us. And when we don't find that, a lot of strange things can happen. In fact, I believe that that's the truth about most lesbians, is they're not so much attracted to women as they have an aversion to men, as I've stated before. And a lot of that comes from not being able to find a knight in shining armor when you need him. Not seeing men as heroes and providers and protectors can lead a woman down such strange paths as I've discussed, wanting to be a male, or, asexuality, which, quite frankly, women don't have a sex drive. if they wanted to be honest with themselves, they don't really crave sex the way men do. So realizing that can make you an asexual when you don't see anything in a man that you want or need. And so it can do a lot of strange things to you psychologically. And I think me being red-shirted contributed greatly to that. Me being a year older than most of my classmates, and taller for much of my educational life until high school. And then when that changed, it wasn't a welcome thing. I didn't just suddenly become attracted to these boys who had once been shorter than me because they were suddenly tall. You know what I'm saying? They didn't suddenly become heroes. And you know what I'm saying? It's like you still, in being a woman, you still desire the same things, whether you're emotionally mature or not. You're still not attracted to men who can't provide for you, who can't protect you, who would rather make fun of you and watch you struggle in various ways than to help you. You're just not. And, when it gets to the point where you just don't see any attractive men or boys in your own age group, you can, start desiring, as I've stated before, strange things such as May-December relationships. But then when you're no longer May, it's like your life becomes very depressing because you can't have a May-December relationship. You could have a December-May relationship, but that would be pretty creepy. So it's like you become attracted to men much older than yourself who really couldn't care less about you. But then when you no longer have those opportunities, like when you yourself are an adult, it's like you're not really attracted to men whatsoever because such men no longer exist. You know what I'm saying? A man old enough to be my father today is now an old gray-haired grandpa that's probably not looking for a relationship if he doesn't have one. So yeah, it's just a very strange situation with me. And what I want to talk about is cod liver oil. I took these, I wouldn't say every day. Now these may be expired, but I would like to say that this is the biggest crock as far as I'm concerned, because I took those, when I was maybe 6 years old, and I was always going to the doctor, for all of a sudden having these complications of colds that I never had when I was younger because I didn't go to school. And in kindergarten, my mom may have asked the doctor, what she could do to boost my immune system. And I think he may have recommended cod liver oil. Or I don't know where maybe her mom gave it to her. But I was given these beginning in kindergarten. Maybe not every day, but a couple times a week throughout my school years for sure. And I would have to say that it did not stop me from having frequent colds, so to speak, as in multiple colds each semester, 1 to 4 for sure each semester through high school, and 1 to 4 per year through college until age 27. So it really didn't do that, though I haven't been to the doctor to get on antibiotics since I want to say age 9, 3rd grade. That was the last time I had one go into something that required antibiotics. Okay, so perhaps it does help with the severity so that it isn't as bad. But in addition to that, as an adult, I take elderberry and zinc, maybe not every day, but enough that my body is not deficient in any of those things. So yeah, I'm taking supplements, but as I've stated before, That will not stop every respiratory virus, including COVID. I still had COVID, and I had all the symptoms that most people have with it. So yeah, cod liver oil. I never once received perfect attendance, despite taking it, throughout my school years. I always missed 1 to 20 days, depending on how old I was and how badly I wanted perfect attendance. Grades 8 and 12 were my best, because it was like I wanted it badly in 8th grade. Because even though I had 9 colds, I wanted to get 1 perfect attendance award while I still could, because I think they stopped giving them in high school. Then in my senior year, I wanted it badly because obviously I never had it in K through 11, and I thought it should have been easy, but I ended up missing 1 day near the end of the year. Just like in 8th. And so, yeah, I never had perfect attendance, ever, despite taking cod liver oil. And during my school years, when I was taking it the most religiously, that's when I had the most colds, obviously, from going to school and having a younger sister. So you see, while most people would see a decrease from childhood to adolescence, which I was starting to see from grade 6 to 7, most people, when they become a teenager, they start having less colds, more like an adult. And I was starting to see that. I went from 7 colds at age 12 to only 4 at age 13. But as I've stated before, my little sister going to school kind of disrupted that. And it's like she kept our family in a state of childhood. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we were now 2 kids going to school, those were the worst years, 8 through 12 for me, K through 4 with her. So yeah, cod liver oil did not save my attendance ever. And I still take it occasionally, even though I don't think it's really doing anything. Like, honestly, I don't feel the effects of it at all. I don't notice anything different about me when I take it or when I don't. As I stated before, age 27, I took it pretty much every day, and I didn't get any colds that year, because I just had one at 26 years and I want to say 9 months or something like that, and I was taking it then. Then 28 years and 4 months, I got a really bad one for the first time in a year and a half. So, taking cod liver oil didn't stop that from happening ever. It's just that I wasn't going to school, and I didn't have my sister at home anymore, bringing home germs. That was the difference. It wasn't cod liver oil, and not elderberry either. That doesn't stop you from getting sick. So, and neither does zinc, but it can help with those headaches that I get that I think are hormonal. So the other thing I want to talk about is how, oh my gosh, what a difference a year makes with astronomy. A year ago, on December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, yeah. Yahoo Answers would be, 18 years old? Oh my gosh, if it still existed. It was so hot for December, but this year it's like I'm needing a jogging suit and a red plaid flannel. So, what a difference a year makes with the weather and the stars. And the moon is now a waning crescent instead of a full moon. So you see, a year is not, 1 year is not a perfect 12 or 13 lunar months. It's somewhere in between. So the 52 weeks in a year, it's actually, as I stated before, the lunar cycle is slightly more than 28 days, but less than 30. I'm not exactly sure, but a lunar year is not a calendar year. That's what I'm trying to say. In fact, you will be grossly disappointed if on a full moon night you decide to come back a year later expecting that same full moon, because it isn't going to happen. In fact, it isn't going to happen for many years.